Good evening, I'm Pinky Webb. Tonight we ask the questions, we tackle the issues, we clarify matters, and we get on point. Effective June 16, the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, or MMDA, will start implementing the one-month dry run of the odd-even scheme along EDSA. This is part of the rebuild project of the 24-kilometer major artery in Metro Manila. Despite the long overdue rehabilitation of EDSA, some are apprehensive about the two-year project as it may hamper economic activities along the way. Is this a boon or bane? Let's get on point with Employers Confederation of the Philippines, or ECOP President Sergio Ortiz-Luis. He joins us over the phone. Mr. Ortiz, good evening to you. Welcome to the show and thank you so much for your time.
Good evening again, Pinky. Glad to be in your show, and good evening to our listeners and watchers.
I want to talk about first on a macro level, how would the odd-even scheme basically affect the economy as a whole?
Well, let me go back when they introduced the uneven scheme before. During the construction of the LRT, they said on a temporary basis they will have an even scheme. But the people expecting a problem, they all bought cars and vehicles. And then it lengthened, so tuloy-tuloy ang pagbili. Before, you go to even the gated villages, so one car, one garage, two cars, two garages. Now, you go to any village, you will notice left and right side of the street are all full of cars. Why? Because of this. And worse, if they implement the uneven scheme, and they don't seem to be making the buy now, there will be a deluge again of cars and vehicles. And what you're trying to solve is the temporary manner will affect the economy on the long run, because at least 25% more vehicles. Even in our offices now, people are complaining, they're beginning to order additional vehicles to be able to, and yet they are saying they have been postponing this simply because I don't think they're very convinced that it can work. But the problem is, unless they say it will not go through, there will be an influx of vehicles. It looks like the automotive industry, whatever is the state of the economy, there's always an increase in sales. And now there will be influx again. And after they have finished it, there will be so much vehicles that what we are doing will be to naught.
So, definitely, for one thing, the auto industry will gain from this odd-even scheme that the government plans to implement. But is there any other way? Because number one, the rehabilitation, or let's call it, as the government calls it, the rebuild of EDSA, is long overdue. Well, we understand, or at least consider what government wants to do with this odd-even scheme. Of course, it affects each and every one of us. Is there any other alternative?
Well, I guess implementing the rules better will solve the problem, at least in exchange of uneven, no? And uneven will not work because there will be a lot of problem. Even the elderly citizen, you can only use your car twice a week. And how can that be? But they can arrange. As a matter of fact, Piggy, this afternoon, many of the companies had a meeting with them, the association, meaning ECI, ECOP, Export, Filipino Chinese Chamber, the hotel owners, the brokers, and contractors. We met with the Secretary Legresma, the OTR Secretary, and MMDA.
Opo.
And we had a lengthy discussion about this. And apparently, there's a lot of question about, and as I was saying, if they're not really so sure about it, let them say that it's not yet final, because people are now ordering vehicles, and this will be catastrophic in the long run.
Yeah, but
And
Mr. Ortiz,
and yet,
when you met with government officials, what was discussed, or were there any concessions made during the discussion?
well, it's basically we asked them to present, because Roman, so that you can understand exactly how will they do the closing of the roads, how long it will be, a portion, and they will all ask for the soft copy so they can present them to the company. What we have agreed so far is that we'll try to study it, to come back to them if there is additional recommendation, and on the manner of work schedule, like work from home, like extended or flexible working time. This is something that we also discussed there.
Okay.
And but basically, I think everybody's still finalizing things.
But do you find it odd that there's still a lot of finalization that is happening, and yet we are being faced with this dilemma, supposed to be on mid-June, June 16, that there will be a
Well,
one-month
actually,
dry run?
this has been a long time discussion already. Unfortunately, I think problems come up and questions come up as we go along, and that's why we continue having a dry run. And I think if you will check, there's still a lot of questions that's being asked. And as a matter of fact, people had been consulted earlier before they finalized it. A lot of people are saying we could have done asphalt, which will last a few years, but it will take much faster to do. But
All right.
concreting is another thing. You know?
What are the considerations? If indeed this pushes through, what are the practical solutions for employers or employees?
Well, what we said is so long as no particular formula is mandated on us, let the employers understand what's happening, timetables and everything, and let them do what is best for them. And that we need support because there might be extended hours, which might not be exactly in the law, or shifting or things like that. And we were assured by the secretary, that so long as it is reasonable, they will support all these things.
Should companies seriously think about giving this work from home option to the employees?
Well, depends on the company. But remember, as a matter of fact, there's a lot of there were representation there of the construction station, also the manufacturing. They simply cannot do work from home. So we're really talking of work from home only on office workers, basically. And precisely, these are the ones that we have to arrange how to bring them to the workplace, or maybe what can be done about work at home, like what we did during the COVID time. And I think at the end, we agreed that let each company do their own thing, so long as it is reasonable and in consultation with their workers.
And what are the reasonable things that can be done by companies at the moment? Can you give us considerations or examples?
Flexible working time. Let's say people work longer, but then they have their day off, and the other ones will be working at home at the time. Things like those, or put 3 days work, but lengthen, and then shifting, things like those. These are the things that they have to. But there is no formula that can fit everybody.
Yeah.
So everybody must look at their own particular cases because their employees live in different areas, and their offices are working in different areas. Some of them can afford some offices, some can't. So they have to determine what's best for them.
You know, there was also, Mr. Ortiz, this suggestion coming from a sector, the seniors sector, basically asking government to have consideration among the senior citizens for a number of reasons. One is the possible checkups that they need in hospitals, by which they would rather be able to be basically exempted from this odd-even scheme on EDSA. Do you think that's something government should consider?
Well, that came out. Should except that they don't know how many will be involved and how many vehicles will be involved. No, that's the problem. I think they're willing to look at this, how they can ease up the. Because remember, if the elderly have go to check up and their checkup will have to pass EDSA, can you imagine they can only use their car twice a week? How can you do that?
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that government needs to consider, and it's not just the seniors. It's not just the seniors, sir, because it can be anyone else who needs to go for a checkup, and they need to pass EDSA. Hindi ho ba? All right.
Yes.
So, how did the meeting end?
Well, it was a cordial meeting. It was very open, and the suggestions they're going to process it, and they will get back to us.
All right, so we continue to monitor what will happen with this odd-even scheme. Maraming salamat po sa inyong oras. Employers, Confederation of the Philippines, or ECOP President, Sergio Ortiz-Luis. Thank you, sir.
Maraming salamat.
Thank you po. We'll be taking a short break. Up next, I'll speak with the Logistics Manager of Rel Corporation, Richard Mesina, on the impact of the odd-even scheme on EDSA on their supply chain. Stay tuned. This is On Point. Welcome back. A Filipino company that supplies various products in different stores and supermarkets in Metro Manila is now also preparing for the possible adjustments they have to make once the odd-even scheme is imposed on EDSA. Let's get on point with the Logistics Manager of Rel Corporation, Richard Mesina. Mr. Mesina, good evening. Welcome to the show, and thank you also for your time. All right, let's begin with, is this a big problem for Frabelle?
Well, it's a problem that we are looking into and we are taking into consideration with, given that it will affect our deliveries, especially to supermarkets and to malls.
Give us exactly what you foresee as problematic concerns or areas with this odd-even scheme that will be implemented soon.
With the implementation of the odd-even scheme, this may affect our deliveries. It will give us longer delivery times maybe, and it will cause possible delays and canceled deliveries. It will also, that will lead to less stocks in our shelves and may cost us in our bottom line.
Maybe if authorities might say, paano naman kayo maapektuhan? There are alternate routes. What is the reply to that, or how do you respond to that?
Well, the volume of the vehicles that will be transferred from EDSA, given that the odd-even scheme will be implemented, they will take the alternate routes, and that's where we are going through. It will cause traffic in that areas as well, and then it will take us some time to adjust. Given that the delivery schedule of the malls and supermarkets is in daytime.
Opo. But are you already foreseeing a formula to be able to adjust your delivery, given that we might have to really face this sometime soon, this odd-even scheme?
Well, initially, our sales team is already in touch with the supermarket chains.
Opo.
Yeah. Maybe they can adjust the delivery times as well. On our end, internally, we are doing some adjustments with our delivery loading times and other alternatives that we could look into. We're just starting with it.
Pero I guess my question is, malaki ho bang problema ito para sa inyo dyan sa Frabelle? Is it a big problem?
It is a concern. It may affect us if it will be fully implemented. Initial estimates is around 30 to 40% of the volumes that we deliver within EDSA or within the supermarket chains across Metro Manila.
Can you expound on that, please, when you said 30 to 40%?
Well, initial estimates that we are doing deliveries within Metro Manila is around 20 metric tons per day. 30% of which, or 30 to 40% of which may be affected if we will not deliver on time.
So 30% of what? You said 20 metric tons?
Yep.
So
at
that's about
least around-
seven metric tons.
7 to 8 metric tons.
So bakit po hindi, why will there be this effect on a 30% non-delivery? Because of exactly what?
Because of because the delivery time in supermarket chains along EDSA is only during the daytime, wherein our delivery routes will also be affected when we go there. As mentioned earlier, those deliveries also that will be affected, taking the alternate routes will also be affected with that.
Would this somehow affect the cost, your cost, your cost for delivery, and the cost to, let's say, the supermarkets or the malls, and eventually to the end consumers?
It will affect us. So, us in figuratively, we're looking at again 30 to 40%. That's around at least 1 million pesos if or based on my rough estimate per
Affect
day.
1 million pesos of what? Losses a day?
Oh, yeah. So lost sales or cost that may cost us with this when we do failed deliveries.
Right. Yeah, that's a lot. Malaki po
Yep.
yun. Are there ways to manage this?
Maybe one thing that the government or we maybe suggest is if we could implement the odd even scheme on areas in segments. So those areas that would be repaired for a certain time, that would we will make effect of the odd even scheme there, and the rest of the rest of EDSA would be the normal number coding.
Has there been any communication with authorities regarding your concerns being in the business sector?
Currently, we are still doing internal adjustments or internal talks, and then we would do some refining so that we could communicate it accordingly.
All right. Thanks a lot to the logistics manager for Rel Corporation, Richard Mesina. Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
And that's On Point. Join us again on Monday, 7:30 p.m. here on BNC, the Billionario News Channel. I'm Pinky Webb. Thank you for watching.